Ant, and then Peter, and then Jasmine.
I agree with Jazz, and I do think that the age limit needs to be looked at. Like, I mean, younger candidates, man, it could like really reach the people that I think, like, just really feel like the generation, especially like within our communities, that are being lost because they don't have nobody to like. They can't relate to this white guy. No disrespect, like there's this white guy, and I think, and that's why like I'm going far left with this, so just follow me. That's why I actually commend Cardi B. Here's why.
Oh, okay.
Here's why. At least she tried to get some information for the people. Her audience is the audience that people are saying, yo, they need to vote. They're the ones that's not voting, right? At least she attempted to get some. It may, however she attempted to do it. Hey, however she. But at least she attempted to do it. Now, between her and Candace Owens, a whole different conversation I have a problem with, but we'll discuss that at the topic. However, at least she tried to get some information for the people. At least she tried to say, hey, my audience is young. This audience is a whole different, they need to figure out some information because they're not the ones that's voting. They're the ones that's like, I can't relate to them. Those are the ones that need to change, that needs that foundation, that needs stuff going on. So at least she tried to get some information. Like, at least she went for it. Now, granted, it may not have been as, calculated, tactful, planned out, but hey, at least she tried.
That's not a bad point. Peter and then Jasmine.
A couple things. One is, I actually like the fact that Trump is not an insider, so I have no problem with somebody running office. The whole purpose of government was to bring people into government, not people being in government the whole time. Then they could become swamp creatures. You have Biden's 47 years in office. A lot of these people, not just Democrats, Republicans too, there needs to be term limits on all that shit. Nobody should be in office that long getting rich. I keep hearing the word policy a whole bunch. People vote for Trump because of his policies. I've not heard one person yet name a policy that they don't like about Trump in here. Everything has been purely, I don't like him. I don't like him. He might be a racist, even though before he ran for office, Black people loved him, NAACP awards, hanging out with. How many rap videos was he in? How many rap songs he was in? Snoop loved him. Snoop had him, but all of a sudden he's a racist. He was hanging out with the dude from Def Jam or whatever. Everybody.
Please don't use rappers as a gauge for whether or not somebody's racist.
No. I'm saying the same people that are calling him racist now liked him before. That's what I'm saying. So but all of a sudden he's a racist, that's just silly. That would have came out years ago and it never did. The only thing that ever came out was he was kind of an ass and he was a womanizer. That was
you can like somebody as a person and still think they're racist, or that you just don't want them to be president.
Okay, but again, policies. What are the policies that everybody hates Trump about? Because I'm voting for Trump for two reasons. One is the policies. That's the main reason.
He had an opportunity. He dropped that $500 billion plan right before the debate. He had an opportunity to talk about it, and he did not.
That's true. But again, I think he didn't do that because he was going after one specific thing, and he didn't want to put more than one thing. That's my own opinion. I could be 100% wrong. I do agree it was a miss. He could have done a better job of bringing up, those different things. But policies, everybody's in here is talking about policies. Nobody's saying what policies of Trump they don't like.
A better plan would have been to try to steal 2% of the Black vote with his platinum plan.
That's what I'm going to do for you.
That would have been a better
plan. Done for you. That would have been awesome. We still might not have voted, but still it would have been nice to hear that there was a plan.
Talk about unemployment rate going up since he's been in office. He did throw in little, statistics.
Yeah.
Jasmine, you're next, and then Wes.
Yeah. So if I can remember, what I think,
and he does have corona.
Oh, whatever. We're gonna believe you of all people. Anyways, so I think back to what Santino was saying about the safer vote. I think that's fucking ridiculous that is what their mindset is, if that is what it is, which I guess history you can see. But as far as Bernie Sanders, I know a lot of people that were so gung-ho for him to be, you know, the Democratic candidate, and they're just like, well, since I can't have him, now I'm stuck with him, which kind of goes back to what I said about, you know, we shouldn't have to be stuck with anyone. Like, the whole point in us having a voice and having a choice as to who we want is because that's who the fuck we want, like, you know. And then I'm trying to think what else.
Yeah, the two-party system is ridiculous.
Yeah,
people should just be out there, and we should just narrow it down.
And I think it's kind of manipulative in a way, in the sense of like, you know, these, you know, you can only have one side or another side. There are no other sides. It kind of feels that way. Like, you know, like you're either here or you're either there. And I mean, Joe Biden, oh my gosh. Honestly, he's all over the place. And I'm kind of like, I keep trying to get Rayvon, because Rayvon's still not signed up to vote, but I keep trying to get him like to sign up. But since moving here, I'm like, do I even want to fucking vote? Like, so you know, Rayvon, the more like the conversations happening, and then after this first debate, I'm just like, why should I be forced to make a decision that I don't even want to fucking make? Like, it's upsetting to me that I don't have more options, and that the Democratic Party decided, hey, all you motherfuckers drop out. Why don't you have more integrity to be like, no, I'm standing up against you. I feel like I'm the better candidate. It just upsets me. It upsets me that the older I get, like all this crazy shit.
You have that one random AOC, I support Bernie Sanders for nomination.
Remember, Bernie got a new house for dropping out versus Hillary.
You said what?
Bernie got a new house when he dropped out versus Hillary.
Oh God.
No, he did. There's not a conspiracy.
I did not believe you. I'm just like, ugh, so frustrating. The drama of it all. It's a hot mess. Okay, Wes.
I totally forgot the last time I was going to bring up, because apparently Trump's not racist, or it's brand new that he's racist. The full page ad against the Central Park Five, who were later exonerated, that happened in the 80s.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, but I just...
Nipsey Hussle, rest in peace, and YG have a phenomenal song that came out in 2016 called FDT, aka Fuck Donald Trump, wherein they use a clip directly from Trump's speech talking about building a wall and why that is inherently racist. As far as policy, I don't really know any policy he's actually gotten across, except for when he attempted to do the Muslim ban, which in itself is, God, that's racist. And then it was, of course, it got overturned. And that brings me back to the issue with Trump, as far as, it's not even an issue. Again, if you like the policy, that's fine, but what are his policies? Like, what's actually gotten across that the ACLU didn't sue him and get undone because it was unconstitutional? Like, I don't think of anything as far as like, okay, well, he gave money, the federal government gave money and stimuluses and things. That's always happened whenever the economy goes down. You had the Cash for Clunkers program. You had $600 stimulus checks that went out to people before in that one recession, which I would argue this one is actually worse, but whatever. I don't know, this just narrative that like, and again, we do this thing where it's both sides. Yeah, Biden's racist. He's got a racist past and he does goofy shit all the time. And he may or may not be suffering from dementia. We can't ever tell because he's always been kind of goofy. But as far as like just saying, taking it all the way to the other extent, and that means Trump isn't racist, Trump's racist as fuck. Trying to like, or like just, I don't know, this might be one of the things that you got to just take it from black people. If black people say you racist, they're probably getting it from somewhere. It's kind of the same thing as like, you know, if a woman says like, I don't know, I don't feel comfortable around that dude, then you probably should just listen to her. It's one of those things. It's like, I can't say I'm an authority on it unless I'm part of it. And for people who feel pressure from racism, Donald Trump, when I bet you ask everybody in here, they say Donald Trump, everybody black, they're going to say Donald Trump is racist, and they're not getting it from the media.
Peter?
You said it right there. The pressure to call him racist is all media driven. These same people were not calling him racist years ago. That only started when all of a sudden he's running for president. The dude's been in the limelight for 30, 40 years.
He's been called a racist, though. He was sued for being a racist. Do you remember the housing discrimination lawsuit that went against him?
So let me,
people calling him now. So, you can say all the voices or whatever, but people have called him racist. Everybody, like he said, Central Park 5 called him racist. You can't just point to certain rappers or athletes.
No, I'm not, okay. So in Mar-a-Lago,
racist. It was just
I was about to say,
Hold on,
So,
Mar-a-Lago.
he was so black people weren't allowed to be in Palm Springs. He has Mar-a-Lago there. He sued so that black people can sit there and go on the golf course.
Black people and Jews.
Okay, he's racist. So that's just silly. So and then but yet NAACP gave him how many image awards? But yeah, okay, he's racist. It's just silly at this point.
R. Kelly has an NAACP image award.
Okay, but okay.
White lady that try to act black, like, come on.
Okay.
So what? And then you start talking about. So going back to policy, right? So you don't know any policy. Okay, what about the new trade deals? What about he's the first president, so this ties in perfectly with Nobel. First president, how many years to not get us in any wars? He's anti-war. Everything he's been doing is pulling us
except for the race war going on.
Whose race war is that? Who's that pushed by?
That's
pushed by all the left Democrats.
But he's definitely not saying anything to stop it, though.
Not at all.
He has.
So I'm saying, so it's like this, and it's like this. I'm gonna cut you off like this. If you're not saying anything to stop it, it kind of means like that you're with.
Yes, he has. Again, I can show clips of him going out there and sit there and denouncing it, not time after time. The problem is nobody hears it because the media they refuse to push that. Instead, they push the narrative that he's sitting there pushing a racist or doing stuff that's racist. There's a long list of every single time he's denounced it. It's just silly that you have to constantly do it. It just doesn't make any sense.
I feel like the truth is somewhere in the middle. But so it's Tino and then Aaron.
You know, in terms of like whether Donald Trump is racist, like I just don't buy it. And then specifically, like, and I don't understand, like, what specifically has he done to black people to warrant the hate from black people? Like, what specifically? I understand, Mexicans being like, yeah, I don't know about that guy. I understand Muslims being like, yeah, I don't know about that guy. But when you look at, like, the stuff he's accomplished in his presidency, he's gone out of his way to help specifically black people. I mean, the whole black colleges thing, that was like 2 or 3 days after the guy took office and did it to no fanfare at all. Zero. I've talked to people, Hispanic people who are like, man, I can't vote for him because fuck that guy and his comments about Mexicans. But if I was black, I'd vote for Trump. Like, because his policies have done a lot. It's the truth. And then, Peter, obviously you talked about, his specific policies. We are getting our wall, right? We're getting the wall. And guess what? You want to know how Mexico's paying for it? Mexico is the wall. He got Mexico to step up to enforce their borders. And now, before people can even make it to our borders, Mexico is sending them back to where they come from, without even touching our shores. When we're looking at the endless wars, I mean, clearly he hasn't created any new wars. Moving the capital, moving the embassy of Israel, to Jerusalem. There was a big policy deal. Renegotiating NAFTA, pulling us out of TPP. Like, all of these things were things that he campaigned on, and he absolutely delivered. Even the Iranian deal is dead. And that's saying he literally campaigned on that. You might not like his policies as a partisan or or whatever your political agenda is. You might not like them, but in terms of what he campaigned to do, he's nailed it.
That's what I was thinking, is like, I think he's conservative and he's doing his conservative things, and there has been some like impact on the black community, some positive impacts on the black community, but I just think some of what he stands for and is pushing is not stuff that we like. Aaron and then Wes.
So Peter's saying, well, he's just now racist. He wasn't racist previously. Yeah, you didn't know your favorite priest was a child molester until people came out and said it. Like, who knew Bill Cosby was a serial rapist till somebody said it? It literally takes one incident for people to be comfortable enough to say, you know what, I did experience that. Just because he hid it so well doesn't mean that's not a reality. It just means that people finally got the balls to say, yeah, I had an experience. That's all that is. And then, what was the other point somebody said? I think when you say China virus, that's racist. Because Asians are facing the brunt of not only jokes,
not Asian, and
hold on,
China is
Tino.
China's a nationality, not a race.
First off, wait a second. I am general because not everybody knows the difference between a Chinese person, a Vietnamese person, a Cambodian person. Some people say they all look the same, just like Hispanics. That's me saying Asians because I don't know the difference. But to say China virus and to know that these people are actually getting physically attacked, verbally attacked, that's racist. That's racist. You're putting a group of people out there to be assaulted in some manner.
So really fast. So Aaron made a really great point. Hold on. Aaron made a really great point about you don't know until somebody speaks up and says, this happened to me. Who's came out and said that Donald Trump said anything specifically racist to them?
I was going to say that, Aaron. I think they actually did try to find, they actually did some interviews with some of his staff and like Black staff, and were like literally trying to find specifically Black instances. I agree with you though. Racist is racist. It doesn't have to be against Black people.
You would know. Somebody would come out and say something.
Yeah, they didn't find any instances. Everyone had nothing but praises. But again,
and you know damn well they were going. They were going to find anybody.
People have tried to get when people did The Apprentice, he had them sign non-disclosure agreements because people have snippets from being on the set of The Apprentice where they felt like these instances could be racist, but because of that non-disclosure agreement, they can't be released.
Yeah. You just don't know. Wes? And then
there is a legend. I remember there was supposed to be the Nword tape and it just never came out. It was supposed to be from NBC and it was supposed to come on the heels of Buddy who was talking to him about grabbing him by the pussy or whatever. Like that was supposed to come on the heels of that. They was going to drop the Nword tape and it just never did. Just kind of quietly went away. But that's not even that's not even my focus with that. I think, and this is away from all of this, Black people always see racism first, even if it's not against Black people, because we know eventually it's going to go to Black people. We know that. We know, like, the country's built on it. We know that. We know that if you just give it enough time, you know, the thing about World War II when the Nazis were coming, and I didn't do anything because it was them. And then I didn't do nothing because it was them. And then now nobody's here to go to bat for me. Black people know all about that. That comes from the American playbook that the Germans stole, okay? We're looking at it and going, you know what? I see how you're doing the Mexicans right now. I mean, he can't possibly wait to get my Black ass. That's exactly what that means. There's no different. There's nobody who's like, okay, there's white supremacy, except we like the Black people too. That's not how it works. It's an all lumped in thing. And especially in American racism is a different brand. You do have to, and we can't say it's not like the same as it is over in Asia or the same in other places. American racism is different. That had chattel slavery. It's a completely different set of values in the way they do things. So I think, and I don't like that we do this. I don't like that Black people always go to bat for everybody because nobody come to bat for our ass unless they can profit off of it, like Black Lives Matter, which is a whole nother, I know, it's a whole nother thing. And I don't necessarily want to get into that today, but yeah, no, this is why we notice it, because we see some shit, we say some shit.
That's okay. So Peter and then Anthony.
So real fast, if he was racist, which racist policy did he put forward? He's for school choice. No, I'm being serious. So why is he
talked about this though?
No, but Wes
it was
brought
literally
it up just now.
called a Muslim ban.
He makes racist comments. Outside of policy, he makes
Muslims a religion, not a race.
First of all, again.
True, but he said Muslim countries. And again, you could say those are, like, if we're gonna do semantics.
Asian countries were included in that then, right?
Right,
because
but
there's plenty of Asian countries that are predominantly Muslim.
Which European country did he say we ain't traveling? They can't travel here? He didn't. You see, you can't deliberately miss
Turkey.
The point.
Aren't they part of the EU?
What?
Yeah, Turkey's European. But again, I'm talking about in which policy harms Black America All of it.
But
But this is my
That's
point.
what Wes
you're
is
missing the
saying. He doesn't
point.
have to be racist
I'm not
against
gonna
us. You're
Stop.
missing the point, Peter.
No, hold on. No, I'm not. I'm saying he's making policies that benefits Black America, but yet the Democratic Party is pushing that he's racist towards Black people. But all these policies he's putting in place benefit specifically Black America. If he's a racist, if he's pushing a race war, why the hell is he doing more for the Black Americans than why didn't Obama push all of these programs? And
Okay, here I actually can. I'm gonna answer this. I'm gonna answer this the best way I know how. There's a way to because racism is such a bad word and it's such a bad thing. America has adapted and adopted different ways to be able to be racist without being called racist. There is the retort to Black Lives Matter began as all lives matter, right? And then that's inherently racist and got frowned upon. But you know what it became, what it evolved into? Blue Lives Matter became the thin blue line and the flag. And so now and this is nuts, but you can say this. You can say, hey, look, are you pro-Black? Somehow the antithesis of being pro-Black is actually being pro-police, because we know historically that the police beat the shit out of Black people and keep them subordinated in their neighborhoods. This is through segregation. This goes all the way until like yesterday, okay? And it's probably gonna happen tomorrow, so it's still going. To act as though it's just in your mind, it's just in Black people's heads, and that's not actually what's happening. No, Obama didn't do anything about it because it's a systemic issue. One Black guy can't stop the entire system that is put into place to do this. Donald Trump, whether he goes and puts until he puts a specific policy in place to uplift just Black people, which America has never done. They're not going to do. What he freed the slaves, right?
No, what are you talking about? The HBCUs, school choice, opportunity zones,
Opportunity zones.
and opportunity zones, the Second Chance Act, that was all designed specifically for Black people.
And I'm telling you,
so what
Black
are you talking
people,
about? What more can he do? You want him to get on his hands and wash feet?
Pete, take a chill.
No,
chill.
No, I'm chilling. I'm just thinking that it's. Oh,
but I'm laying out policies, and you're saying he's not doing anything for specifically for Black people, and I just gave you a list.
What? How? And again, I think there's a part. I don't know what to call it, and but I could never sit and say you're better off because of something somebody is doing. If they're telling you, I ain't no fucking better off. If everybody in the room is telling you, I'm not better off for that, to sit and say you're better off because this guy did it, that's every bit as bad of a mind fuck as what the damn Democrats do. I don't think there's a right way to say it. If everybody's telling you, if everybody's telling you something, to ignore it, nothing has changed for us in a beneficial way. That includes the Obama years. The Obama years, there was policy that was put in place. One of those was pardoning nonviolent drug offenders because that was an inherently racist party. That was actually a policy that came from Joe Biden's crime bill. Okay, I'm not overlooking that. I'm saying that all those things are included. When we're analyzing this and we're saying, how does this benefit and affect Black people? Shit has not changed because the police still have the same. We were talking about this earlier. They still face the same grand juries. They still get off with the same bullshit charges. They still kill Black people at an alarming rate. And I hate, please don't do they kill white people too. No, it's not, we're 13% of the population. And also on top of that, we're like 80% of jail. Racism has gone beyond the dirty word. It's institutionalized, and it's in levels where one person is not going to be able to do a particular thing. So then when we talk about racism, we talk about the racist shit you say, which the stuff about Mexicans is alarming.
So a couple things. One
Anthony, Anthony had his hand up.
So
Peter.
So
Anthony, are you okay with Peter? Okay.
Well, you're talking about a couple.
He just ain't let it go.
So you're talking about policies, things specifically. Before COVID, record high Black unemployment, record high Black wealth, record high Black home ownership, record high Black business, all record high, wanting school choice because everybody knows everything starts with education. He's the only one pushing for school choice, letting out, doing the Second Chance Act, putting the opportunity zones. Those are all things. So when you're saying I'm not better off, okay, everything is put in place. So you're right. No one, the mindset that no one politician should define who you are. That's an individual choice that no matter what, you have every opportunity. You need to go out and make it work. And you need to go out there and make things happen. That should be a mindset everybody has. But unfortunately, too many people have a victim mentality, so they're not going to be able to overcome that and do that. But so when you start talking about policies, he's done all the different policies, everything in his power to make that happen. So if somebody's saying, well, I'm not better off, you're not better off with lower taxes. You're not better off with high paying jobs. You're not, I don't understand how you're not better off. That's a you and a personal choice at that point.
Anthony?
I'm trying to remember my thoughts. I think I got it. Cool. I think I agree with Wes, and I understand what you're saying, Peter. I think the thing is because we haven't seen it. Like, it's still bullshit going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still bullshit going on, and it's like, yeah, you have all these policies, but I'm still in an impoverished neighborhood. Like, we have all these policies to say. I think because we haven't visually seen it, and then the media also, like, they pile on all type of other shit to and make us not we gonna blindside. And I also think that we need to seek to understand, research more about what he has done, and not go off of the Black pioneers. Don't go off of like D.L. Hughley and the people that they talking about, the people that go, like, actually go and find out what did he do for Black people? Like, what has he done? And the fact that we have not seen it is because the media shows everything else, and then the media shows, and I understand what you're saying, like, it's stuff there, but we ain't seen it because we still in the same situation that we was in when he came in. So it's like, if how can you see it if it's stuff still going on? That's all.
Yeah, I think I agree with what you guys are saying, but I also agree with Wes that racism is racism. So when you hear it and you experience it and you cringe, the policy and stuff that you mentioned is great. And I understand that it is real. It is real. It doesn't get covered. I understand that. But then again, like, I go back to what I was saying earlier, where he had the opportunity to talk about it in the debate and he doesn't. And it just, for me, comes back to him as a person. He's like, well, like LaShawn said it earlier, not like the leader you'd expect from a president. And I understand he's different and all of that, but it'd be great if at times he's not his Twitter self and that he taps into something more mature and can actually talk about this stuff. Because I understand you guys are saying the media is not covering it, but he also had his own opportunity with that debate. There's no commercial breaks, and he could have talked about that deal and he didn't. So it's on him too a little bit. So it's Jasmine and Tino, and then Peter, I think.
And then Ant just raised his hand again.
Who? Jasmine, Tino, and Peter, Anthony.
Peter, then Anthony. Yeah. I kind of just wanted to like also remind people that like the president can only do so much. So that's why voting locally is also important again. Because obviously presidentials, they can sign the bills and do all this stuff, but local voting, putting judges that you want in position, putting governors and senators and all that in position, that all starts locally. And if we keep letting people, get voted in because we don't want to vote or we're not paying attention to this vote needs to be every 2 years, like judges and I think senates and like all that is not every 4 years like presidential candidates are. And I don't think that people realize that. So I just, to put out there, it is important to vote locally. And kind of to what Wes's point was, like, you can't say, okay, he's put all these policies in, and then kind of to your point too, Shantae, all these policies are there, but that doesn't mean it's hitting everybody, because still at the end of the day, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's trickling down to every single Black person in America, that it's not trickling down the same in every single state. Like, there's still ruling within a state that people of power are allowed to have, and so it's just like, he can do all these things, but then it's how it's implemented within each state, within each county, and all, in each city. So kind of to Wes's point, you can't just say, well, he's doing this, so you should be better off. Well, I mean, but still the state has a say in how that's trickling down. So that doesn't mean it's hitting every Black American, every Black person in America.
Tino?
How many? I'm just curious. How many of you watched the RNC in its entirety?
I watched some of it. I think I watched like the full first or second day.
I mean, how anyone? I mean,
I didn't watch either the DNC or the RNC.
So and I guess that goes to my point. I mean, if you watch the RNC, they really laid out the case of what Trump has done for Black and Hispanic people, for minorities in particular, and this goes to where I understand that most of us have kind of chosen our sides in this whole fight, if you will, but if you're really like looking to like expand, your experience with this all, we need to go and look at all of this stuff. If you watch the RNC, they really laid it down. Like, and it was
in fairness, Santino, to go back to Shantae's point, he had his opportunity to bring that stuff up at the debate, knowing that a lot of those minorities didn't watch the RNC.
I'll come back to that. I'm not going to disagree with that, LaShawn or Shantae. The thing is there's still two other debates, and going to what Peter was saying way earlier, he had a particular goal in mind. This is the Trump the genius theory. He had one particular goal in mind, which is to really separate Biden from the far left electorate. There's still opportunities here, and if I were Trump, I would lay down the case for Black America like a week before the election, when everyone's like about to make their final choices.
Peter, and then Anthony, and then Wes.
So this kind of ties into exactly what Anthony and Jasmine were saying. Anthony was saying, well, some of those aren't happening. Some of what he's pushing isn't happening in certain areas on the local level. If he signed the bill and the money goes to the local area, you need to be calling out the local officials who have control of that money. And why aren't they pushing that money? That money is not getting sent out for two reasons. One, it's going to help Trump politically, or two, they pissed that money off somewhere. That's why every federal and state dollar needs to be transparent. You should be able to see every freaking dollar that comes in and out. So the money's there.
Blue states ain't pushing school choice. Just throwing it out.
No,
there.
They're not pushing school choice. So the policies that he's pushing for, if they're not getting enacted, know what policy somebody's pushing and understand if you like it or not. Because if it's not getting implemented because the money's not there, or it's getting pushed back from a local government, and Wes brought up the ACLU, it's a corrupt organization, but regardless, they're pushing a leftist agenda. So if they're fighting you for it, they're fighting against school choice. The teachers union don't want that. The big cities don't want that because they lose control of their tax dollars and that federal money coming in. So it's not the president. It doesn't matter who you are, president, Republican or Democrat. It all comes down to locally. What are they pushing for locally? So that's why it blows my mind, the hatred when you don't know the policies that he's actually putting out to benefit like anybody. But then you're okay with your local government that's been in power for 40, 50, 60, 70 years, and your neighborhoods get worse and worse and worse, or don't get better off. It's not a federal thing, it's a local thing.
That's fair, but it still goes to speaking to the proper audience.
Mm-hmm.
He speaks to the audience, he's not getting the traction from everybody. And then what happens when Black people do speak up on his behalf? They get called out and dragged every single time.
That's actually something I was going to end this segment with. That was something I was going to end.
Deceased.
Wait, they get cancel cultured out, right? They're no longer Black. They're no longer outside the barbecue. They're skin folk, not kinfolk, right? Isn't that what they say?
Anthony and then Wes can respond to that.
All right. I understand what you're saying, Peter. I get it. That's why I said, people need to research and seek and to understand, and find out what's going on, where this stuff is going. And that's what I'm saying. I think again, people not really seeking to understand and figure out what's going on. I completely understand that, but at the same time, I feel like there's a loophole somewhere around it. So it's like when stuff go down, like we haven't seen certain changes, but it's like a loophole. You know, I feel like it's some other stuff going on that we not really sure about. That's why we haven't really seen it. And like I said earlier, you know, if you want to know what's really going on, follow the money.
Yeah, you feel like you're getting pimped again.
Locally.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, and you don't know where that's coming from. Is it coming from the top or is it coming locally? Because there's a miss somewhere, right?
No, I don't trust any politicians, local or otherwise.
Yeah,
but that's the problem. The voting is not like. Jesse Jackson Jr. got voted while he was in jail. He got reelected. I mean, we don't like. It's
some type.
For the record, I like my alderman, so we're doing something right over here.
It's just something that ain't just, and I think it's like, I think the lack of knowledge and the lack of understanding all of this for some people, and I think that's one thing too. Like, that's why again I commend Cardi B for at least trying to put some information in their hands.
Hey, you want to be husband number 2, huh? That's the second
time you brought up. He's trying to make a bid for being husband number 2.
Hey, brother, I come in and be like, hey, coach, like, I'm saying, like, hey, if this ever go viral, Cardi, I'll let.
Oh my gosh.
I'll let my publicist.
Talking about the people not knowing anything, just real quick, it pretty much either starts at home or in school. And I feel like that's one of the things that schools are lacking, is they're teaching you like American history, but like, what about what you can do once you turn 18 years old? They're like, I don't think that they're teaching you like life things. They're teaching you like by the book. And I'm sorry, the math that I learned in whatever grade, I don't fucking trigonometry, bro. Like calculus, what the fuck? I'm not gonna use that shit. But guess what? I have to learn how to do my taxes correctly. I have to learn am I putting 0, 1, or 2 or whatever. Like, who's gonna teach you that shit if not for school? Especially when you get into high school at the least, you know, like who's gonna teach you what just like at what age you can vote and how you can go about it. And when you move, you have to re-register to different locations. And like, it's like, why do you have to learn this on your own? Why are they not providing that education in school?
Yeah, and they teach you about like big elections and stuff, but they never teach you that the local elections like are what like matter. They don't teach you what the aldermen do and all of that. Yeah,
I didn't learn that until I had to move back in with my parents. I was like, because my stepmom was mad that like they changed aldermen. She was pissed. She's like, these people are stupid, but whatever. But I was like, what? There's just so many little parts to government that like people don't talk to you about, and I think it's fucking ridiculous. You know, but obviously it is on people to do the research themselves. But if you're not like even a little bit political savvy, it's just like you don't even know where the fuck you're supposed to start. And then going back to the whole media conversation, you don't even know what resource is a good resource. Like you're fucking trying to find everywhere, and you're like, holy shit, I thought this was a perfect resource, but really it's fucking fake news.
It's so hard to find an unbiased news source.
It is.
And so
this day and age,
you guys, it's Wes's turn to talk.
I'm sorry.
I actually wasn't raising my hand. I was just giving Jasmine a thumbs up for her comment. So I really ain't even got shit to say. That's why I was posted up. Fuck both these parties though.
No, yes, no, I agree.
Anthony, raise your hand, and then Peter.
Jasmine, you hit the nail on the head. This shit ain't even being talked about in school. What they teaching kids to do is take tests for financial situations. I'm gonna be honest with you. Working working on the west side, working in school. These kids are they programmed to take tests. What these tests do? These tests equal to funding. These tests, they don't know. Like you could put a kid. Like we had kids that you could put them in the middle, like never been downtown, don't know how to get home, don't know no life skills, don't know how to count money, and then what they do is the reason. Let's say a kid just acts up. They put his ass in special ed, right? He needs his ass whooped. He needs some structure. You put him in special ed, right? And you give him this label. So you're not really challenging him to actually find. You actually just learn him how to work the system. And you're like, this kid he's not bad. He's just being labeled. And that label goes on and on and on and on. And they carry that label. And they're not teaching kids nothing but how to take tests. And they're not teaching them about the legislative branch and this branch and that branch. They're not really teaching. Like, there are a handful of teachers actually teaching that stuff. And then something just being like, all right, well, here go to work. That's why I have a problem with e-learning. Because actually, some of our kids need structure in school. But they're not teaching kids that no. They're not teaching that. They're teaching how to take tests. And tests equal finances. And tests can say, hey, my school is making, hey, we're making strides. Let's get that money. We're showing the proof of the pudding. Let's get that money.
Can I ask a question?
Kids.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
Was that to me or?
Yes, you can ask a question.
Okay. Did y'all have to take the state and federal constitution test when y'all? Yep. I'm gonna go ahead and say that stopped sometime after we graduated because I know the kids don't know this shit.
They don't know none of this shit.
So I can say that I can still say that it's mandatory.
It's still mandatory.
Now it's not. There's no accountability with it anymore. Yeah. Like it's literally like you take it until you pass it.
Yeah. Peter,
are you talking about the Constitution test?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you do have to take it. So,
but that still doesn't teach you about local stuff. That's the thing. It only teaches you about like the big
years of this that happened and that, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. The only reason I just asked because as an alarming number of people who vote who do not know the three branches of government.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. So a couple of things. One is that's why most conservatives are pro-choice when it comes to school choice. And the fact that you live in a certain area, you don't have to go to shitty school. You can go to any school and get a better education. And so that's also that you're right. You're 100% right. They're teaching them to pass the test so they get that federal money and that state money. That's the problem with Common Core. So everything is that's 100%. That's 100% right. So I was actually what's funny is and Jasmine, you're right when you talk about like life skills. I was talking to Pat about this. Because he lives in Indianapolis and he goes to his oldest son went to a big school, and then he was talking to like people, and when we went to school and they taught us how to balance a checkbook, how to write a check, how to play. We used to play the games on the stock market, and we would have the little fake money, and they would teach us all of that. They're not teaching those in certain schools and a lot of like inner city schools, so they're lost. Well, no, I agree. So that's why school choice is so important, and fixing a lot of these schools is so important. But the fact that you're not, that blows my mind, how like you don't need to learn how to write a check anymore. But when I was in high school, they teach you how to write a check, teach you how to balance.
The 60s or 70s, Pete, you was in high school.
What's funny is I appreciate that because my kids, little bastards that they are, would have told me the 30s or the 20s. So thank you for thinking I'm that young.
That's great. Me. I can't put you.
I did not learn any of that in CPS.
I'm like, yeah, no way. Even outside of a checkbook, like I said, taxes, like
you're like taxes.
We had to do taxes. We played the stock market. We did all of that.
Did you guys see that video of the boy who got his first paycheck and it was like $20 less, and he was like crying because it was taxes? They were like.
So my first paycheck, it was like for $80, and I didn't know about the taxes that much either. And I was like, I calculated how many hours I worked. I was like, yeah, I'm about to get $120. All of a sudden, I'm like, I was still happy as hell. Back in the 70s, $80 was a lot of money.
All right, can we just go back to the part where you called your own kids little bastards?
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah. So what's funny? So here's the story behind that. So I always call them little bastards. So I always call them little bastards. And when Pete got old enough, he was like, you know what? We are little bastards. And I was like, I told you, that's why I call you little bastards. When he realized what the definition was. So now they're okay with it.
I thought the definition
it's a term of endearment
with the father.
No, it's like when they're not married.
Just if it's your parents are not married.
Yeah.
At the time of your birth.
Yeah, so when you got 7 baby mamas, you got a whole bunch of bastards.
I literally could have sworn y'all got married at some point. I'm still like in disbelief.
Tell him common law. When does common law kick in?
Common law for me ended in the 50s.
Jeez. Okay, anyway, we have not raised our hands at all. So, I mean, we've been doing this for a few hours. I think it would have been nice to talk about the Supreme Court seat. So did anybody have anything specific they wanted to talk about with our new, with the Supreme Court seat, with RGB or RBG, I keep doing that wrong. Okay, Wes, and then I feel like we should lighten it up with something a little lighter. I know we had something light in the middle, but you know.
I just want to say the coolest part, and I was stuck on this when it happened. I couldn't believe it. I actually rewinded it so I could see this. I was like, did I get this? Did I hear this right? And the thing I think Trump won was when they were talking about the Supreme Court seat and they was going over, do you think it's fair? Are you ready? And he very succinctly and simply said, I'm the president for 4 years, not 3. And it just made me go, yo, what the fuck was Obama doing? That whole thing, they actually let it become a debate whether or not it was the right or wrong thing. This man, without even question, and maybe that's just white privilege speaking, but this man said, I'm the president for 4 years, not 3. And it was done. There was no more discussion about this. I'm gonna do
it.
That was low key the coldest
I agree
shit.
with you. I was like, well, shit. Like,
and he took it a step
and he was
farther.
like, and we have power of both things. So
yeah, they got the vote.
I'm gonna do it.
He took it one slight step further when he said, and you know what I don't understand? It was 128. It was actually 105, but he said it was 128 open judge seats, and he just left them to me. Why would you do that? Wouldn't you just finish your job? And the answer is because he wasn't allowed to fill them because of Mitch and all that. But it's still the way he played that. I was like, that is the coldest shit that man might have ever done on camera. I respected that one. I was like,
he didn't even try to be a politician like the rest of them, making excuses for all the bullshit they did. He's just like, nah, I'm the president. I'm gonna do it because I.
Well, he flat out said it. He goes, if the roles were reversed, the Democrats would do the exact same thing. If you have the votes, why would you not do it if you have the votes?
What? Oh, sorry.
They didn't have necessarily the votes in the Senate. And this is the only other thing that I'm taking away from all this is the Senate is way too fucking powerful. The Senate can't so the Senate gets to vote on the actual impeachment itself, and the Senate also gets to appoint and not appoint, but the judges. That's deep as fuck.
No, the Congress votes on the impeachment.
They do, but the Senate takes the trial, and those are the
they on the removal part. But
right, and so if you can impeach all you want, but if the Senate ain't going, and the Senate's only 100 people, which is exactly 2 per state, which is like, that's wild underrepresentation for some place like Cali or Texas versus Rhode Island. That's crazy.
I disagree wholeheartedly with that.
Tino had his hand up. I just wanted to let him say what he wanted to say.
You know, what I thought was brilliant about what Trump had said with I'm president for 4 years. I don't know if any of you guys know this or caught that. That's actually an RBG quote. He literally quoted her from 2014, 2015. That, you know, the whole Garland thing. He literally quoted RBG. And then, fuck, Wes, what was the last thing you just said, man? I was about to
about the 100 and some odd open judgeships that were left, and Mitch didn't.
Oh yeah, so that's something, and this goes to what we were talking about, how what we're teaching kids in school. As a Trump supporter, as a conservative, when I voted for Trump, it was absolutely something on my mind. Supreme Court. I knew that Ruth Bader Ginsburg had missed an opportunity retiring under Barack Obama. It's something that I had talked about back in 2014, actually. And I knew he missed an opportunity. I knew that was going to come. I knew that was going to come up very soon. In terms of all of the judges and things, these are things that conservatives hold on to pretty hard, blanketly across like the Republican Party, because we're constantly faced with these laws that are trying to overstep constitutional rights. So it's always on our mind what judges are coming in. This is something that is a very, very much so a conservative value.
Judges are the only reason why I voted for Hillary Clinton in the first place.
Anybody else want to comment before we move it to something light and take this to the end?
I seen this post about the person said they I guess they had a documentary on her, and they was like, it's so crazy because they was like, she fought for all women's rights. It was like, and they was like, He fought for all women's rights. And like black men got to fight. The white man ain't never had to fight for anything. I was like, damn, that's crazy. It was just randomly when I thought about, I was talking about what she was talking about her.
Yeah. All right. Does anyone have any like pop culture topics they want to bring up other than Cardi B? Or maybe it is Cardi
Let
B.
Anthony go on his rant. Go ahead. This is your opportunity. Here we go.
I was saying, we finna go viral, baby. Listen here, Cardi, holla at me. Yo, I'm good. I'm real. I'm not going to argue with you. I got you. Holla at me.
You know what, Ant? Man, now is actually a great chance. This is a great opportunity for me to thank you for loaning me the money for that car, man. That was amazing that you did that. I really appreciate that.
I got you, bro.
Yeah, I had all my little bastards. I need a babysitter. You watched all of them for me. I appreciate that. I know she's got a little one, and you're really great with the kids. So thanks for that.
Exactly.
I've done without you.
Can you touch that little dangly thing in the back of her throat?
Whoa!
Immediately you went there.
I mean, I would.
Notice it was Aaron. Notice it was Aaron.
Like, I'm gonna.
No dude said that. No dude said that.
No man said it was Aaron.
I'm gonna answer that. I see that we're recording. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna answer that question offline. Out of respect for the recording that we have and everything else going on in the editing.
According to Mark Jackson, if you just add respectfully, it's okay. So you could be. I can touch that little dangly thing in the back of your throat, respectfully.
I mean, you get a look.
With all due respect,
if she lets you.
You know what I'm saying?
Of course, with your consent, of course.
Yeah,
respectfully.
I appreciate it, and Cardi, I take it, I help out when I can, but I'm just saying, like, if you just, hey.
I commend you on your social media campaign to get Burger King to co-sign with her and come out with the Whopper. I do too. I saw you doing it. You doing it, man. You doing it.
I'm trying.
You doing it
for the people. Like Jasmine said, put me on the ballot, baby. I'll make change happen.
Yeah, man.
Put me on the ballot. We need younger people. I can talk to some of the younger people. I understand me.
You guys are ridiculous. Good stuff, good stuff.
What's up, you guys? Thanks for tuning in to all of these installments of this 4-hour Zoom call. In case you missed any of them, they are going to be in the upper left-hand corner with the little I. Make sure to click that. I think we have 3 other installments before this one. This will be the final one from this Zoom call. I hope you guys have enjoyed all of our videos. Please stay tuned for more because we have more coming out, especially with the next presidential debate coming up this week. So make sure to like this video, subscribe down below, and click the bell notifications. You can always be informed and notified of whenever we upload. Thanks for watching, guys.